Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Listen, you guys, I've got to finish getting ready. I'm already in my office, but I've got to go to the university. Um, but I wanted to go live and my Wi-Fi is tripping at home. So I said, let me just go on and go to the office and do what I need to do at the office before I go to the university and talk to the people. So you guys come on in. Come on in. I know it's 9 o'clock. Some of y'all are at work. You've already started your work day, right? But if you haven't, let me know who's here and where you're tuning from. What's up, T? I see you. I see you. Good to see you this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Go ahead and share this broadcast. This is going to bless some people. This is going to bless some people that have gone through some stuff. Okay. Come on in. Hey, brother. Good morning. I love you. So let's talk about it. Today, November 8th, 2021, would have been my grandmother's 96th birthday. My grandmother, Mary Lucille Duncan, right? That's my mom's mom, right? The woman who raised me. You see, my mom was 17 when she had me. She was 16 when she got pregnant. My dad was 26. And my grandparents raised me. My grandmother, Mary Lucille Nurse Duncan, and my grandfather, Joseph Benjamin Duncan Sr., right? So my dad was significantly older than my mom, and my grandfather was significantly older than my grandmother, right? So he was about 9 years older than her, right? My dad was 10 years older than my mom. Okay. So listen, let me talk for a minute. My grandmother is a huge reason why I am the person that I am today. So when I was growing up, and I remember getting to a stage where, because my mom did not raise me. I remember being angry at her. She didn't raise me, but she raised my siblings. At least she raised some of my siblings. One of my brothers, two of my brothers at one point stayed with their dad's mom and their dad. And then later one of those brothers went and lived with my mom, right? So I couldn't understand why my mom didn't raise me. She raised my siblings. Why didn't she raise me? What was wrong with me? Like, that was what was going on in my mind. What was wrong with me? And the truth of the matter is my grandparents were like, no, you're not taking her. You're not taking her. She's not going anywhere. Even though my grandfather was really mad, and he was daddy to me, my grandmother was mama. Even though daddy was really mad when my mom came up pregnant, he was like, after I came, it was over. I belonged to them. I was their child, right? And so he was like, no, you're not taking her. And I didn't really realize that when I was growing up. I just felt like my mom just didn't want me, right? Something was wrong with me, which wasn't the case. And my grandparents raised me. So my grandfather, you're going to hear more about him in December. His birthday is in December. I'm going to talk about him. I'm going to talk about my brother. All of these were major losses that I had before the age of 18 that really impacted my life, that I really did not heal from fully, right? And so this is my year to really heal. So my grandmother was just an incredible woman. When I tell y'all she was an incredible woman, like, she was absolutely an amazing woman. She was the kind of woman that really exemplified womanhood, right? She was a classic family woman. She was all about her family. She loved my grandfather. She loved daddy and would do just anything for him. Like, she loved that man so much and was determined to keep our family together. That was a big deal for her. So this morning when I woke up, I'm just going to give y'all some transparency. So this morning when I woke up, and I thought about it being her birthday, right? I already knew because last night I started trying to prepare myself for it. But I thought about it being her birthday, and I began to think about the memories that I have of her. Think about the memories that I have with her, right? And there were some things that I just wanted to share with you all that I had to learn. Some of them I learned when I was younger, but some of them did not make sense to me until much later in life. So the first thing is this: my grandmother believed in love. Like she loved, when I tell you she loved my granddaddy, she loved his dirty draws. Okay. She loved him. She loved that man. And my granddaddy was an amazing man. Like he was, I just loved my granddaddy. I just thought he was so amazing. And I was a daddy's girl, right? I was not only a biological daddy's girl, but I was my granddaddy's girl. Like wherever my granddaddy was going, that's where I wanted to be. Which is really interesting because I don't like outside. But when he would be outside, I would be outside with him. When he was cleaning rabbits, I was out there with him. Like I watched it, smelt it, squirrels, all that stuff, right? Because he was a hunter and he was a fisherman. Like he loved hunting and fishing. It was his relaxation. Now, I didn't go do those things with him, but I loved being around him when he got back. So I remember, y'all, I have some very vivid memories, and some of them I didn't really talk about, right? But I just remember my grandmother like always making it happen. Like when it came to feeding a large family, and we were a a really big family, right? So we had a 3-room house, front room, middle room, kitchen. And at any time, there was at least 2 families living in that middle room. My grandparents lived in the front room. Their bedroom was the front room and the living room. The middle room, like that's where, I was, and at one point it was my mom, myself, and my 2 brothers. And then my aunt and her kids when she had kids. And then at one point it was 3 families in there. It was my aunt and her kids, it was my mom and her kids, and it was my uncle and some of his kids. So like we really we made it work. Okay. So yes, I'm multitasking, Coach Drew. So my grandmother always figured out how to make food stretch. She always knew how to make it stretch, how to make it do what it do, which is why I now when I fix chili, my ex called it chili daddy, right? Because we put spaghetti in the chili. It was designed to stretch the food, right? When you got a lot of people to feed, you can't just have hamburger and beans, okay? With some tomatoes in it and some tomato paste or something. No, you need to have something in there that's going to stick to the ribs. It's going to make it stretch. And that's what she did. So she put spaghetti. She used tomato juice. My chili is the bomb, though. I'm going to tell y'all my chili bad, okay? But she would use tomato juice, and that's how she would stretch it, is they would put spaghetti in it, right? It was a part of the family, right? So when I was growing up, everything was in these 5-gallon lard buckets, right? It starts out with lard, and then after the lard is gone, she would clean it out, and it would hold the water, wood, coal, sugar, flour, meal, like whatever needed to go in it, it would go in it, right? So that's how I grew up. I grew up not having a lot, having a lot, right? When I tell you, my family loved, right? Loved. My grandmother was the type of woman, she was a bigger woman, chocolate, beautiful chocolate. My grandmother was so, like her skin was so pretty and black, right? And I used to just love laying on her. Like she just felt so amazing to lay on. She felt safe, she felt comfortable, and she was incredible. Well, I told you guys she loved my grandfather. She loved him. Well, I remember when I got older. See, a lot of stuff you don't get when you're younger, but I remember when I got older, and I saw my granddaddy's truck at somebody's house. And I'm like, why is daddy's truck in this house, right? So I was feeling away. And, there was, it was said that, he had someone else, another woman. And I remember being so mad. But check this out. I was mad at him, but I was really mad at mama. Like, why are you letting him do this, right? I remember experiencing some encounters I shouldn't have experienced. I shouldn't have seen it, heard it, known about it, but I did because I lived with them. So I saw some things that other people did not see. And it wasn't a lot, but, it was a couple of, things that were really poignant, right? But this is the thing. My grandmother, you would have never known there was anything going on with my grandfather with anybody else because she didn't treat him like it was. She never disrespected him. She always was very loving. She was definitely a submissive wife. She loved him, period. And I learned some things from her. And let me tell y'all what I learned, because I think this is important. I learned that love doesn't have conditions. Now, you all, I'm not saying, what am I saying? She loved him so much that she wanted her family to stay together, and that was her primary focus. She wanted her family to stay together, and that was her primary focus. And so, um, anything extra, he came home, he gave her money, he paid the bills. Like, you know, that was not enough for her to walk away from her marriage. Okay. But beyond that, she just loved him. She loved my grandfather. She loved him. And there was nothing that anyone could say or even that he could do that would change how much she loved him. It just wasn't going to happen. Nor, I don't think there was really anything he could have done that would have made her leave him. I don't. Now, clearly, I didn't get that. I did not get that. In fact, for me, it went the opposite way. For me, those experiences, seeing that in her, my mom, my aunts, made me go the opposite direction, because I was like, ain't no man finna be doing me like that and think I'm finna stay, because I'm not staying. The devil is a lie, right? So my grandmother, though, really taught me through what she did and how she lived her life. Not what she said, but what she did and how she lived her life, what love looks like. And I'm grateful for that as a grown woman now, even though I didn't appreciate it then. I felt like she was weak. I felt like my aunts were weak. I felt like my mom was weak. I felt like anybody that stayed with a man that was cheating on them was weak. Like, that's just weak, right? I didn't get it. I didn't understand. And I really wasn't interested in getting it or understanding. Like, I just was like, oh, that's dumb. I won't be doing that, right? And that was my declaration. I said, I will never give a man so much access to my heart that he can leave and break my heart, or I'll be devastated, or I won't be able to go on. Like, I just am not doing that. I'm not doing that. Now, y'all can do that if y'all want to, but I'm not doing that. That was my declaration. But what I realized now that I didn't realize then is that real love, you can't just turn it off. You know, during those times, you just didn't leave and you really didn't get divorces. Although my grandfather had been married before, and he got a divorce. And then he ended up marrying my grandmother. But you didn't really just get divorces, especially not as a woman. You didn't really leave, you know. But she didn't want to. She loved him. And her love was so amazing. She loved him so much. Her love was so amazing. And now I look at it, and she really taught me what unconditional love was, right? Or what it is, right? Even though I didn't get it then, I didn't understand. I felt like she was dumb. I felt like all of them was dumb and weak and all of that. And that just wasn't going to be me. So I would work to just be the opposite of that. Oh, no, I'm cutting you quick. You gone, period, right? But now I long for a love that's so massive that I can trust that man with my whole heart. And even if he messed up, and I'm not saying that I want that, but even if he messed up, it just wouldn't be enough for me to walk away, you know? Not, I want to love someone like she loved my grandfather. I want to build family like she built family. And I'm not idealizing my grandmother or that era, but I just know this. There's more. my grandmothers were amazing women. And when I think about being a grandmother, for me, I want to be my grandchildren's safe place. I want to be where they know they can go, and be safe, where they can tell on their parents. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna condone that, but they better not be messing with my babies. That's what I'm gonna say. um, my grandmother was incredible. She was an entrepreneur. She had a cleaning business, even though she didn't necessarily call it a cleaning business. But she did. She cleaned rich people's houses. She cleaned for the motel. She was an independent contractor. That's what she was, right? She was an independent contractor. And I can see where some of my entrepreneurship came from. My great grandmother, she made and sold hot tamales. I told my son today that I think, and I just was talking about hot tamales, I think I'm going to make hot tamales today in honor of my grandmother. And we're going to enjoy them, and we're going to celebrate her life and her legacy, because I am her legacy. And it's because of her sacrifices, that I've been able to do the things that I've done. It's because of her, because she provided me with safe, stable housing. Regardless of what my mom was going through, I didn't go through that because I was with my grandmother. And as much as I love my mom and I wanted to be with my mom, probably a big part of the reason I am the way I am is because I was with my grandmother, my grandparents, and then my grandfather died, and then my grandmother died a couple of years later, and I believe she died of a broken heart because she loved him so much. So today, as I think about her and I think about her legacy, I'm just reminded that things aren't always what they seem, or you don't always know the full story. Just because you know a part of it, or you think you know a part of it, doesn't mean you know all of it. And that's really part of what my grandmother and her choices and her decisions and her life taught me. I said, it's time to celebrate, commemorate, and heal. My grandmother's death was one of the deaths that occurred um, during my senior year in high school. And actually, it occurred a few weeks after I'd had an abortion. And so for a while, I kind of, no, not kind of, I felt like it was my fault. I felt like if I hadn't made that decision, that she would have still been alive. Like I felt like God was punishing me. And then a few weeks after she died, my brother died. You'll hear more about him in December. His birthday's in December, and my grandfather's birthday's in December. So you'll hear more about them, because this is my year. This is my year to really heal from those wounds, to really acknowledge the roots of some of the things that I experienced in my life, and some of the reasons I am the way I am now. People wonder, how is it that I can walk away from people and places? How is it that I can endure the things that I endure? And y'all, just to be honest, I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, and most people would not be able to function amidst it, but I can, because when I was young, I started being prepared to handle a lot at one time. Think about it. I was 17 years old, got pregnant, got a full scholarship to the University of Kentucky, academic, got pregnant, had an abortion. A few weeks later, my grandmother died. A few weeks after that, my 14-year-old brother drowned, and then I graduated from high school and went off to college. Who does that, right? And I didn't just go off to college by myself. I encouraged one of my friends slash cousins to go, advocating for education, advocating for the ability to do it, even though it didn't look like it, or the people didn't tell you that you were smart enough to do it. Like, girl, you can do this. Let's do this. And listen, if you don't have housing, you can stay in my room until you get a place. Listen, I'm telling you, at 17, y'all, this was me, right? And my cousin slash friend went on not only graduate from college, but she got a master's. She's in counseling. It's amazing, right? She's built her family. This is how you build legacy. So when I think about my grandmother today, I wish she could see me. You know, I wish she could see me. I wish she could see what I've done. I wish she could see um, how I've grown. I wish she'd been there for conversations about relationships and marriage and life and when it gets hard. I wish she had been there. And I wish that she could have seen her grandchildren, her great grandchildren, actually, and her great greats. But she has to see them from heaven. But it inspires me to be a better me, to go harder softly. You know, I said last year, well, I think it was 2020, yeah, last year, that she was the softest, strong woman that I know because she was incredibly soft, but she was also incredibly strong. It takes a lot of strength, is what I discovered, to persevere through those challenges. And I'm proud to call her mama. I'm proud that she decided to stay with daddy no matter what was going on. I'm proud, you know. No longer am I ashamed. No longer do I feel like she was weak. Like, I'm proud. I'm proud that she made a decision that was right for her and her family. I'm proud that it didn't matter what anybody thought. It didn't matter how anybody else felt about it. She knew what she felt. And I'm excited. Now y'all may say, well, V, why are you excited? I need a pencil sharpener. I'm excited because I can't do that. That's scratching my eye. I'm excited because she has built a legacy of strong women. And I don't want to just be strong. I also want to be soft. And I think that's the misconception. People think that strong women just want to be strong and hard, and it's not the case. But it requires strength to make it through life and the challenges of life. But I want to also be soft, soft and feminine. I have no desire to be a man. I have no desire to do a bunch of man stuff. I want to be a lady. So that's what I mean. My grandmother mastered the art of just being a lady, and she was that. So today, as you go throughout your day, I want to encourage you to celebrate the life and the legacy of those who've gone before you. You know, while I'm sad that she's not here, I'm grateful that she deposited in me the things that she did so that I could deposit them in my children and my grandchildren and those that I encounter. Now, women, by no stretch of the imagination am I telling you if your husband cheats, just stay. But also, by no stretch of the imagination am I telling you if he cheats, just leave. Every situation is different. And I believe that it is imperative that we really hear from God on stuff like that, you know, and not people and not just automatically assume or anything like that. It's bigger than that. All I know is this. I come from amazing stock. My grandmother was an incredible woman, and she has left a legacy in me, in my children, in my children's children, in my cousins, in my aunts and uncles, and their children, and their children's children. And it's a legacy to be celebrated. Nobody gets it all right. None of us. So there's no need in being judgmental. And very early on, I got a little judgmental when it came to women and relationships. So today I celebrate the life of Mary Lucille Duncan, Mary Lucille Nurse Duncan, the matriarch of the Duncan family on my side, my mother's mother and my mother simultaneously. I know that's interesting, right? And I honor her legacy. My prayer is that I can just be half the woman that she was, because she was incredible. And that I would impact my children and my grandchildren the way she impacted me. She always told me, focus on school. Boys will be there after you're dead and gone. And I didn't always get it. I didn't always understand. I felt like they were trying to keep me from something. But now I get it. Now I get it. So, Mama, I just want to say I love you. And I appreciate you. And I'm grateful that you were my grandmother and my mama. And I pray I continuously make you proud. I actually have a scholarship fund at my school, the Walters Academy for Entrepreneurship, in her name and her honor, for girls who want to be entrepreneurs, the Mary L. Duncan Scholarship. And I developed it because I wanted to build legacy, and I wanted my grandparents to show up in that legacy. And I will actually be launching the Norman L. Hines Scholarship. So I'll be raising funds for that to honor my father as well. You all listen, all I can say is this: life is what you make it. And my grandmother made it amazing. She lived it, she enjoyed it, and she did a good job with those who were entrusted in her care. I challenge us to do the same. Listen, you all, Mary Lucille, or Merciel, as they said back in the day, left a legacy. What are we leaving? I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Have an amazing, incredible, and epic day. Mwah.